As I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about the triumph of the light over darkness and what Diwali can mean for us, what can it mean for us who come from the Western culture, but we all stand with each other and on top of each other. I'm really struck by all the parallels that this holiday has with all of our other traditions. And so just to give you a little bit of a clue of it, I have notes because I don't want to get anything wrong, right? It's like, I'm really honored to be here sharing this holiday, the service with us, and I've wanted to do it more for years, and Kritika has allowed us to really dip our toes into it and understand it in a new and important way. So one of the things about the ritual and about the whole buildup, as Kritika talked to us about earlier, is about cleansing, an inner and outer cleansing. And one of the customs in the Hindu and Indian culture to do at this time is to clean house, to get rid of the things we don't need, to do the deep cleaning. What we might do that in the West is called it a spring cleaning. They do it in the fall, getting ready for this festival of light. So they clear out all the junk. So we can talk about that as we do in Unity, is about physically and metaphorically. What is it that we're holding on to in our consciousness, in our beliefs, in our way of being that is no longer serving us? Those habitual thoughts, those habitual actions that we take that are clogging the pathways to good in our life. I don't know if Indians would and Hindus would talk about it in the same way, but in Unity what we talk about it is that the God, the one, in this case Ganesh, is trying to clear our pathways, is trying to shower us with good and abundance. It is our own behaviors and our own thoughts and our own collection of things that don't serve us that are blocking that good. Right? And that parallel that we can use this time of year to clean our own homes. You might notice that if you come from a Jewish tradition or you follow the Jewish tradition, they do at this time Yom Kippur, right? Which is casting bread upon the water with all the things they want to let go of, the sins, the mistakes of the year. And that part, that ritual of cleaning opens up because we know that nature abhors a vacuum, right? So that when we open that space, more can rush in. And if we can pause for long enough and shift for long enough, the good can follow. The good can rush in that we have been seeking and fill it with light, with love, with presence. Another one of their traditions is cultivating gratitude and appreciation. Now, we never talk about that around here, do we? And how interestingly parallel that Diwali comes right before the American holiday of Thanksgiving, or somewhere always around it, because theirs on a lunar calendar, but the two parallel each other, that we cultivate appreciation and gratitude for the gifts of our lives, for the gifts of our family, for the gift of the stranger, as we talked about welcoming in the stranger and that tradition in American and Western culture of bringing in the stranger on a holiday like this. We have a new stranger. We have a couple new people with us here today, but someone from out of town who just showed up, and we honor them and we celebrate them, bringing them into the fold because they are the face of God. They are the face of the divine. And how we respond to those strangers is how we respond to the divine energy in our life. So when, like me, some of you might find yourself resisting change, that is the face of a stranger or a new tradition or a new custom or a new way of seeing stuff, just take a notice of that what you're resisting might be your ultimate good. Right? And that if you step into the curiosity of that moment, what is this person bringing? What gift does this person bring to my life? This situation, while it may be awkward, the transition, it may be the unfolding of radical good. So we can then cultivate purposefully an attitude of gratitude and appreciation for even the things we say or we're resisting. Oh, I don't want that to change. But it is changing right before our eyes. So how do we shift that and then become appreciative of the change? One of the ways that I love to do it, and it happens to happen in chant too, is breath. To have to take a deep breath and chant and breathe over and over in a rhythm, filling your lungs, is a way of shifting your stress level and your resistance to change into getting into the attitude of gratitude and the practice of gratitude. You may use it as a mantra. I am open and receptive to the good of my life. I am open and receptive to this evolving to the highest. Or if you don't want to do it as a prayer, you say, I can't wait to see the good come out of this. I can't wait to find out how this is going to work out for my highest and best. Because I cannot see it right now, but I cannot wait to find it. That's a way to celebrate Diwali. It's a way to celebrate the coming of the light over the darkness, almost presupposing it and imposing it on it. It is our awakening, our God Ram coming and defeating the darkness and bringing the light into the world. As Kritika was talking earlier, I couldn't help but think of the Greek myth of Orpheus descending into the darkness to get his wife and bring his wife back up from the darkness back to life. Right? The Greek myth doesn't work out too well, but I love the Hindu mythology much better. So thank you for giving me a new ending to that story and a new way of understanding it. Right? So attitude of gratitude is like, oh, look what this brought to me, a whole new perspective I hadn't known. And then another feature of this holiday is fostering forgiveness and reconciliation. Are there people in your life you don't speak to anymore? All right. Are there situations in your life you refuse to look at? Right? We can give testimony to that. Some of us have, put blinders on to the things we know we should change, but don't. And it's like, I'm so such and such an age. This is who I am. I'm not going to change. Really? How's that working for you, as Dr. Phil would say, right? When we can reconcile parts of ourselves, the parts of ourselves that are out of alignment, out of integrity, out of alignment with the one power and one presence. We talk about it in unity this way, that prayer does not change God. God is love. God is the one power and the one presence constantly showering good and everything we need upon us. It is our own misalignment, our own lack of alignment with that one power that causes the pain in our life, causes the distress and the hardships, the struggle in our life. So how can we reconcile that? How can we become at one, atonement, at one with the one power and the one presence? That is a gift of everyone in our lives. If there is something you cannot stand about another person, it's somewhere inside of you that you are rejecting that other person because you see in them something you don't like in yourself. And until you can wrap your arms physically and metaphorically around that individual and that thing, you will not find peace. Forgiveness for ourselves, for having those shortcomings, forgiveness for them, and appreciation for them for showing it to us. This moment is how we conquer the darkness. The darkness doesn't just live outside, folks. The darkness can be inside our own hearts and minds. And when we can use what we see on the outside to clean up what is here on the inside, we are truly entering and winning the battle over darkness. So I love this one too. Embracing light and knowledge. Because there's been a lot of debate in our culture, in our society right now, about science, about science itself, and whether we should pay attention to it. Well, I will say this about unity, that unity has always embraced science, that science is a way of explaining the working of the universe, and of life itself, not in opposition to spirituality or religion, right? Science is not in opposition to religion. Science is the explanation of how the world works. We are, as I said earlier, spiritual beings having this human experience. We are then evolving from a single cell organism in our mother's womb into the complex, differentiated, marvelous, complicated, and magnificent people sitting in this room and all around the city, all around the planet, 8 billion of us, all evolved from a single cell organism. If that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. And how each and every one of us brings a unique and spectacular perspective to this thing we call life, to this journey. And without all of us fully participating, without all of us fully bringing the wholeness, the light, the love that is needed into the world, we suffer because we withhold some part of it. Well, that part, them, others, the bad ones. I can't love them because of the atrocities they committed. I can't do that. I can't be in the room with that person because of what they said. I can't be with this person. All of those things are us rejecting the knowledge. The truth is there is only one of us here. Science proves that over and over again. In quantum, when two electrons are joined and they rotate in the same pattern, you can separate them on opposite sides of the universe. And if you change the rotation of one of the electrons, the other one will change also, even though they're the other millions and millions of light years apart. Well, that's the same for each and every one of us when we are connected to each other. We feel it. How many of you have experienced, you feel it when someone you love is suffering. You feel it when you lose someone on the planet and you can know that they have come to talk to you because they're no longer in their physical body. You can feel it when there is a shift in the culture, in the climate, in the very electromagnetic field of your life by that connection of light and knowledge. There's spiritual knowledge, there's intellectual knowledge, there's scientific knowledge, there's heartfelt knowledge, gut-felt knowledge, and embracing all of that to be whole. A lot of this world has made too many decisions just based on the intellect, not from the heart, and certainly not from spiritual knowledge, right? If we could get to that place of understanding of what we are really here to do, is be whole, incorporate all of our wisdom. I'm heading to meetings of Unity World Headquarters tonight. I get on a plane right after this and fly to Unity Village, and there's a big issue up, and emails have been flying all week about this big issue that we have to handle as members of the Board of Trustees. And it has to do with the identity of Unity and the movement going forward, and there's 2 factions, and there's fighting over it. Yes, the name is Unity, but there you have it, right? It is our journey to find the unity, right? And so I was thinking about it all week. I read all the correspondence. I'd listened to videos that had been shared, and there's been a response, and the response was crafted by lawyers. And I was like, oh no, we can't send that. Well, we can send that, but we also have to send the response of the heart. Because the lawyer's response, apologies to the lawyers in the room, the lawyer's response is the response of the head. Usually it's what they're trained in, is to look out for what could go wrong. And the response of the heart is sometimes why we feel the way we do. And what we feel is just as important as what we think. I'll say that again. What we feel is just as important as what we think. When we can merge the two, when we can literally interweave them, like the scriptures were woven together, many different authors coming together to form a cohesive whole, we get spiritual wisdom. When we can weave our knowledge with the Hindu traditions of thousands of years, we get a deeper understanding of how to be spiritual in the world, how to be the light that we sing and say we are. So, Diwali is about celebrating diversity and unity, about bringing all those disparate parts together so that we can really stand in the awareness, to light the light of our lives, to let our love, our light, our knowledge, our wisdom, our feelings be paramount in changing the world and defeating darkness and celebrating the light. This is more than a Hindu festival. This is a spiritual practice that we do in many different forms. But what a wonderful opening to see that we are not alone, that halfway around the world is a culture that has been celebrating the exact same things we've been celebrating for unity for 100 years, 130 years. But Hindus have been doing this for 2,000, going on 3,000 years probably. Yeah. 5,000? 5,000, okay. We are babies. We're taking baby steps into it, right? As the Hindu culture has known this truth, and that the teachings of Jesus, the teachings of the Torah, the teachings of Hindu and the Hindu scriptures are all leading us to the same exact place. You are light. And shining your light in the world is what makes it better.